Hi guys, and welcome to FPS tutorial. The whole idea of this tutorial is for me to be able to collect all of these cubes that you have in here. But the other problem is if you dare collect any of the cylinder here, the system will actually count you down. So let me show you guys how it works. So if you notice up here, we have counter, the value is 0. And if I manage to collect all of the cubes, we have 1 collected. So let's collect another one. I have 2. Supposing I mistakenly collect any of these very cylinder, check that out. I've just lost. I've just lose 1. So let's collect the cubes and collect the other 2. I must collect at least 3 for me to go to the next level. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys straight into Unity development environment, and we'll put one of these brilliant tutorial together. Let's do that now, guys. Hi guys, and welcome to an FPS tutorial of collectibles. I'm going to start by first of all, let's click on new project. Just for your information, I'm using Unity 6. Now I'm going to select from this very template here. I'm going to be selecting Universal 3D. You can select that from the template, or if you come to the core, you should be able to see the Universal 3D. Now let's give my project a name. I've then called that FPS Collect. I'm going to click on Create, just right here. Click on Create Project. There we go. Now my project is now coming up. Okay guys, the development environment is ready. But before I go any further, I'm going to go straight into Windows, and I will select Package Manager. And right there, I will then go straight to my asset here. And what I'm looking for is actually the starter asset. There we go. We now have the starter asset in place. But the one I intend to use, just because I like the character to actually keep down the collectibles, I'm going to select the third person here. And let's click on Import. There we go. And you see this dialog that pops up showing warning. All you just need to do is click on Install. And there we go. This install Unity package shows up. Just click on Import. And right there, finish importing the third person assets. If you want to have a look at it, we have it right here. That's the starter asset. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to also import another asset, and that is building apartments. You can actually import any other asset you want. I just want to import this because it's kind of like small. It's about 10 megabytes, which is good enough. So I want to click on import as well, and click on import again, and there we go. I'm going to just import one more asset. That's to do with the sky, all sky free, so that I can change the sky around. Right here, that's it. And it's about 320 megabytes. So the choice is yours if you want to go for it. So I'm going to go for it and just click on download. Okay, I do have download update here. So I'm downloading that for now. Okay, all sky free is ready. I'm going to click on imports. And there we go. Okay, I think I'm done with all the required assets, so we'll close that. Next, I'll come straight to the hierarchy here. Let's right click on it, or you can also drop down the hierarchy, and let's select 3D objects, and the object that I want is the plane. So I'm going to increase the size of that plane. You see where we have transform. You see here we have the inspector, underneath is the transform, and I'm just going to make that about, let's say about 50. The x-axis is 50 and the y-axis is 1 because it doesn't have any volume, and the z-axis I'm going to make that 50 as well. There. So if I click on run, this is what you guys will see. So let's just see how that's going to look like. Okay, because I have it on simulator, this is how it's looking, but I don't want that. I'm going to change that to games. So let's just run it again one more time so that you guys see the whole environment, how it looks like. There we go. Okay, now I want to change the sky and at the same time change the background setting. So, and that's go back to the scene, and right here, double click on all sky free. Right there, inside the all sky free, I need, I think this one. Yeah, that's it. So grab hold of the dip and just dump it there. There we go. That should change the sky now. So if I run it, you should be able to see the different color of the sky. There. That's how the sky is looking. I'm also going to change this plane. You can use one of these. The choice is yours if you want, or you can just go straight to material and select a color for it, but I prefer this one. Next, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go straight into buildings, which I have here, building apartment, select the building apartment, and inside the prefab, you should have some buildings there. Look, those are the buildings that I intend to use. Unfortunately, the colors. So let's see if we can see the material. That's the material there. Let's see if we are able to change that. So I'm going to go in here. Let's see if we can change it. Go to Windows and select rendering and select rendering pipeline converter. Let's click on rendering and I'm going to initialize the converter, save, and initialize that as well. There we go. You see, we've successfully changed it. That's fine. All right, so hopefully my apartment should, there we go, and I have all the building apartment that I want. So I'm going to now just drag one of them, dump it right there. Yeah, and drag the blue one as well. Okay, it's looking good. All right, but they are both too small for what I intend to use it for. Let's click on the camera. I think the camera is hiding up there. Yeah, that's the camera. I can't see this. But first of all, let's increase the size of these three buildings. Just select it all and just make it, instead of one, I'm going to go for 4 by 4 by 4. All right, let's move it aside a little bit. It seems to be a bit huge. Yeah, that's okay. So I'm going to just select the camera. Instead of 0, I'm going to make that 180 so that it turns around. So there we go. That's the camera. I can see the buildings now. All right. Okay, let's run it one more time. Just see how that's going to look. There we go, guys. Check that out. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to try and push these buildings away from the camera so that we can see a little more of the buildings. Okay, I'll move the camera a little bit more. Yeah, maybe about 80. Okay, you see here where we have the spectral, you can always use the field of view. All right, so the next thing I want to do now is, in fact, let's just see how this thing look like. Let's drag this camera here. I can see. That's good. That's good. So let's maybe select this and just move it a little bit. We're gonna add more buildings though. So we go press or right click on this and just select duplicate. Now we duplicate there, move it back and control B Add one more. Okay, so I'm going to have to settle for that for now. Alright, so let's keep going. Next, I'm going to come back to my project area here and let's select the starter assets there. Inside the starter asset, there's a folder called third person. Double click on third person and we want the prefab. Double click on the prefab. The one we're looking for is the player amateur, this very one. Grab hold of the player amateur, dump it on your scene. Okay, we have the player amateur here. I'm going to increase the size of that player amateur to something much more visible that we can see. Let's just increase, run it and see how that's going to look like. That is the player amateur there. So if I click, I can always move anywhere. Hold on the shift key and you can see it runs. Okay. Alright, that is fine so far. But as you can see, the player amateur actually went straight inside the building, which we don't want. So what I want to do now is, for each of the building, I'm going to add mesh collider. So let's stop it from running, stop, and let's select all of these buildings. Now come right here inside the inspector, add component, we'll look for mesh collider for all of them. So that should take care of that. So if I run it one more time, so in fact, let's increase this player amateur to about 3 by 3 by 3, or maybe 4 by 4 by 4. Okay, run. There we go. All right. So let's run towards a building and see if it can go right through the building one more time. Okay, that's very, very impossible. Good. Next, the next thing I want to do now is, as you can see, as the player amateur run around the area, what's happening is, before that goes, now we can see it anymore. So I'm going to just put together a few lines of code so that we can add a camera. We can get this camera to follow this player around. So come right in here. So just right click and let's select create, and in there I'm going to add a folder. So that folder will just have my own script, and just double click on that very script, right click again, create, and let's select mono behavior scripts, and there I'm just going to call that camera controller. There we go. Now double click on your camera controller to open that up. Alright, my coding environment is ready. So what I'm going to do now is, you see, let's get rid of these comments and just enter a public game object in there. Public game object. And this very game object, let's just call it player. Yeah, I'll do player, amateur player. And next, I'm going to create another private vector3. There we go. And this vector3, we can just call it offset camera. Next, I'm going to come in here. Let's grab hold of this offset camera, paste it inside. Void start, that will be equals. Let's say transform dot position, so I might as well accept that. And that will be equals minus the player dot transform dot position. So that should take care of that. Next, get rid of this. I'm going to get it updated inside the void update. Let's say transform position, accept that. That is going to be equals this player here, transform position. I'm going to add it to the offset camera. So let's just paste that in there and say plus there. So with that taken care of, that should be able to follow the camera around, or the camera should follow the player around. So let me save that. and we can always minimize that. Okay, it's compiling now. It's ready. So let's come in here, select the camera, the main camera, drag the code that we just put together, drop it in there. Now you can see this variable is asking me, who do you want me to follow? Okay, so I'm just going to drag my player amateur and just dump it right in there. So let's try it out. Run. There. So as I move along, as you can see, the camera is now following the player straight to the building or wherever the player wants to go to. Let's make sure the player cannot go into the building. It's right here. Okay, that's fine. All right. Next, since that is taken care of. Okay, guys, the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert sound there. Then before I will continue, folder, just call that sound. And let me grab hold of the sound I intend to add. I don't think I'm going to use the explosive, but let's drag and drop anyway. There we go. So the sound that I intend to use, they're all there. Good. The next thing before I do any other thing, let's add sound. This would be the audio source underscore wins. Okay, that is the winning sound. I'm going to drag this sound that says win, drop it there. And I'm going to create another audio that I'll call lose underscore lose or loser, whatever. Now drag the alarm sound, drop it in there. Here we go. Those are the two sounds I intend to use. That should be audio source. So that I don't mix that up. Audio source. I have my two sounds in place. Next, I'm going to go into my starter assets again. Now double click on this folder that is called third person. And you see the scene. Double click on the scene. Just want to show you guys the scene. So double click on play game and click on save to save whatever I have in there. The reason why I'm showing you this is going to be for my second level. So the first level, the second level. There we go, guys. So if I run it, this is what you will see. Okay, the whole idea is for you to be able to transform from first level to second level once you finish collecting the cubes. There. So I'm going to go back into my first level that is here. If you go to the scene, you should be able to see it here. Look at it, that is it right there. So my first scene is right here. Now, the reason why I'm showing you those scenes is because I'm going to go straight into file now. And let's select build property, build profile. Inside the build profile, you see right here, we say scene list. The first one is this one, it's right there. The second scene is going to be that of the starter assets. Let's go into the third person, click on scene, and that is it right there. Playground, drag playground, drop it in there. So I have my two scene right in there. So that is fine now. So with that, I'm going to call it the end of the first part of this tutorial. I will see you guys soon.